We're going to be discussing a topic that has become very important these days. While sleep used to be uncool and the less sleep you got, the cooler you were, finally, things are changing thanks to Arianna Huffington, who says that sleep is actually becoming the third pillar in our life next to health and wellness. That being said, I would like the speakers to quickly give a brief introduction, 3 seconds, and then tell us what are some of your sleep hacks. We start with Stephanie.
All right, so I'm Stephanie Kim. I'm co-founder and CEO of Moonlit Skincare, and we do only skincare for sleep. So all of our products are for the PM. And my sleep hack is to not sleep with your phone around. It's very difficult, but give it a go.
Hi, my name is Natalie Cahill, and I'm with Dior. I've been with Dior for almost 4 years, and I've worked in all categories in fragrance, skincare, and makeup. And we do have some products dedicated to sleep, but not all of our products, like Stephanie's. But I think that, first of all, sleep is super essential. I have an almost 2-year-old little boy at home, and I don't get much of it. So I think the most important thing about when I do sleep is that I have a really, really comfortable bed, really comfortable pillows, and just a really amazing, relaxed environment that I can kind of decompress by the end of the day.
I'm Chris Merkle. I've had a digital agency for the last 10 years, and 2 years ago I made the segue into beauty tech by starting an app called Flawless Makeup, which is essentially a Shazam for makeup. So what we're working on now is a patent-pending technology that basically allows you to take a selfie and matches to your perfect skin shade so you can find products in a one-to-one relationship. I would say don't check Instagram before bed. It'll mess with your head.
Hi, I'm Neal. I'm the founder and CEO of Filtered Formulas, which is an e-commerce supplement store. I'm an information platform for health and wellness. We're dedicated to user experience. We want to make sure people can find the products they need and the information they need as easily as possible. A sleep hack is actually something I do is I take an ice cold shower right before I go to bed, painfully cold. Definitely suggest everyone try it if they can. So yeah.
And I'm Jess. I'm the director of marketing at TULA. TULA is a probiotic skincare company, so we are all about the connection between inner and outer health and wellness, and use probiotics, the same good bacteria found naturally in your body, in our skincare. And we just actually launched our first supplement as well. And my sleep hack is to attempt to keep my bed and room as clean as possible, so you're coming into a clean, safe haven every night.
Great, thank you. So this question is for Jess, Stephanie, and Natalie. Research has shown that if we don't get up to 6 hours of sleep every night, it's actually equivalent to not sleeping at all. What are some of the core differentiators between a daytime routine and a nighttime routine, and what ingredients should we avoid when it comes to our nighttime products?
Okay, so when you are asleep, your skin actually is much more permeable. So those ingredients allow to be soaked in, basically. And so you want something that's very moisturizing because your oil glands also produce less oil when you're sleeping at night. So make sure that whatever you put on your face is very good for you. And number 2 is to make sure that it's moisturizing. Back to the number 1 point of good for you. I mean, make sure your products don't have any toxins, and make sure that they are all natural.
So the first part of your question was the differences between the day and the nighttime skincare routine, right? So I think the core difference between day and night skincare is surely the routine itself and the products that we're using. Because first of all, we don't have as much time in the day as we would at night to dedicate to our nighttime routine. So if you ask a Korean person what their nighttime skincare routine is, they're probably going to tell you probably about 10 steps involved, and it's over 20 minutes long. So it might differ from one person to the next, but a day and a nighttime skincare routine is completely different. And the nighttime one is much more involved because, to Stephanie's point, the products that you are supposed to be using at night are much different than the products that you would use in the day. So, for example, example, the kind of ingredients you might want to look out for at night are retinoic acid, which is very important. You might know this as retinols or retin-A creams. You can get either over the counter or you can get through a derma prescription. And these are really important for fighting off wrinkles or acne. Another important ingredient would be vitamin B, which is really great because it acts as an antioxidant and fights against age spots. And another key ingredient is it totally escapes me right now, but I'll come back to it. Besides the retinoic acid, which is very important, but I think that all these products are extremely important to incorporate into your routine. And also sleep is also extremely important to having a flawless, beautiful complexion, because when you sleep, a lot of things happen. Your cells rapidly turn over, your skin looks much more healthy and glowing the next day, which is why when you go to the doctor and you have a cold, what do they say? Get a lot of rest, because when you sleep, the body and the organs and everything starts to recycle and starts to produce new cells again.
So I think one of the key differences is during the day, your skincare is primarily focused on protecting your skin from all the environmental irritants, from pollution, from UV rays, and so your skin's working really hard to focus on that. We also tend to use lighter formulas that you can layer and serve as a base for makeup. When you're sleeping, your skin actually goes through a reparative process, and it also doesn't have to focus on defending against all of those things. So it's a great time to use kind of those heavier creams and really let them, soak in overnight. It is a good time to use, like Stephanie said, active ingredients and really focused ingredients. There's things like retinol that are not as effective when they are interacting with the sun, and that's not a concern when you're sleeping. So I think really just kind of focusing on ingredients and products that work with what your skin is doing. The last thing I will say is if you do one thing at night, it should be to wash your face. Really should clear all the bacteria and dirt and debris that you accumulated during the day.
Thank you. So we also know that anxiety and depression is at an all-time high due to social media, and it's actually becoming the #1 epidemic in the US, surpassing obesity. Compared to Europe, if you look at them, certain countries are decreasing the average work week to 4 days. They're lucky. Unfortunately, in the US, we're still at 5 days, and we're in fact expected to perform much better and higher than yesterday, and as a result, employees are not able to perform at this capacity. So what is happening now is brands are coming up with functional supplements called nootropics, right? So what nootropics actually does is it taps into the brain to enhance your memory, your mood, and your mental energy. Neal, maybe you can elaborate on your findings with nootropics and how they increase productivity in the workplace?
Totally, yeah. So nootropics, they are phenomenal products. And for anyone who doesn't know, a nootropic is a cognitive enhancement product, virtually with really no side effects or very few side effects. A lot of them have neuroprotective properties, meaning they actually protect your brain to toxins, and they're meant to help you be productive in high-stress situations, such as sleep deprivation. The reports that I get from my customers and from my clients, and even from my experience with using them, is really increased memory, increased ability to learn. One that's fantastic that I really notice is improved verbal fluency, your ability to come up with the words that you want to use to communicate a lot quicker. Just an overall sense of well-being and less brain fog. So that's really cool. Now, what's great also is nootropics can actually be used to aid with sleep. As stated, anxiety is a big reason why the racing mind is the reason why people can't necessarily tend to fall asleep. So just a couple of nootropics that I really recommend. One would be Pick a Million, another is GABA, and the last would be L-theanine. L-theanine is an amino acid found in green tea, and when taken in high concentration in a supplemental form as a nootropic, it really help relax the mind, stop the racing thoughts, and really help you get a good night's sleep. So.
Capitalism at its best.
Yep.
So moving towards more of a digital landscape, as we all know, we live in a filter-driven world with Instagram. We usually go to bed on the app stalking our friends, exes, celebrities, and sometimes even ourselves to find the perfect selfie. From your experience, Chris, with the Flawless app and MIME, what are your thoughts on apps such as Facetune and BeautyCam? And do you think these tools have given us an excuse to A, sleep less, and B, alter reality from what we see online? So I'm just going to give a quick example. Is you take dating apps, for example, women look really attractive on them, right? And you meet them and they don't really live up to their pictures. But in your mind, you might still think that that woman is a 10 out of a 10 when she's maybe a 7, right? So we have this disconnection from reality versus what we see online. Yeah.
This is why I'm not on dating apps. Bars are great. So, ever since social media came into play, you've always had like this other identity of who you could be. So before it's like you're on AIM, you've got a username, it doesn't even make sense today, but it's like silver 2040 whatever, which was mine. And this is just the advancement of being able to step back and project who you think or who you want to be. Using different apps like a UCam or whatever. It's great in the beauty industry for being able to see what something could look like, and they're going to keep getting better. But where we are today, those colors still don't match. From all of our focus groups, you have people that will do like trying on lipstick and everything, and then they get to the store and that's definitely not their shade. So that's one of the things that we're tackling, which is ambient light detection and being able to make that more accurate. In terms of is it a reason to stay up later? I think that's all apps. It's attention. There's like a framework that I've been working through, which is called MOTE, and it's the management of temporal emotions. And basically it's the way that brands can interact with you through these digital channels. Because the more and more we get into this future, it's brands are going to be competing for our emotions and attention down to the microsecond. So that's very fascinating for me. But yeah, that's why I don't do Instagram before bed. It's horrible.
Fun fact, studies have shown that actually the LED blue light that emits from our computers and our phones changes the amount of melatonin that's released in our body, and that actually follows over to the next morning, which disrupts your sleep patterns. So no phones, no computers before bedtime. This is for Natalie. Coming from a more traditional approach, what is your opinion on how digital is affecting consumer discovery and the adaptation of products? What is Dior currently doing to position itself in such a saturated market?
It's not easy, I have to say. And Dior skincare specifically has tremendous amounts of awards given to them. We have 4 research centers worldwide. We have over 300 patents in our skincare. We have over 4 Nobel Prizes. How many of you actually knew that? None. Not even my Dior peeps over there probably knew that. So I think that we still have a ways to go in terms of telling our story and using the digital platform in which to do that. And I think that digital has completely changed the game for a lot of brands to tell their story. We, in fact, have a very exciting skincare line coming out called Capture Youth in January. An article was just released in Women's Wear, that's why I can say that. And we're going to be doing a lot, using digital, a lot to make sure that we tell consumers what our story is. And it's really this customizable skincare. And so we're going to be doing lots of videos showing customers what the product is, what the benefits are, what it does, with ingredient shots. And I think that customers are looking online for the benefits. What does this product do for me? What results am I going to get from that? So I think that Dior, is really going to, go take it to the next level in January. And I also think that the power of the influencer has completely changed the game. The way that people think about products, the way that people shop. If you have an influencer that really believes in your brand and she's got a cult following, then your product is going to fly. And we at Dior are seeing the effects of that. One example specifically, I work in makeup. Jaclyn Hill, I don't know if all the beauty girls in the room, she's got, near 5 million followers on Instagram. And she's a huge fan of one of our foundations. And she's posted a video saying that Dior Forever is the best foundation to ever exist, and her business is up 50%. to date. So, not all of it is 100% attributed to that, but we think that we really are seeing a big lift because of that. So it's really the power of the influencer, and so we're working with them and partnered with them to take our brand to the next level. Another thing I think that the way the digital is affecting the marketplace is that customers can now give real-time feedback to brands. So I think the brands that are killing it right now in skincare, like Drunk Elephant and Sunday Riley and Tatcha, and these brands that are really Sephora driven, and they're very indie driven, and they're really driving the market right now. The skincare market is actually growing faster than the makeup market, which is a first ever. And so these smaller brands can react very quickly, and a lot quicker than a brand like Lauder or Lancome or Dior can even react to, because there's not as many cooks in the kitchen. So one brand, which I can't say the name of, but they in fact pulled their product off the market when they found out that their customers were not happy with the formula. The customers were writing reviews online on Sephora.com saying the formula sucks, that it smells bad, whatever, it doesn't work, and they literally pulled the product off the market, and they're reformulating and putting it back. So we want our customers to be happy, we heard you, and we want to really optimize this to what you need. So I think that digital is really changing the game in the way that brands are developing their products and the way that customers are communicating, so it's a two-way conversation.
Thank you. And then this question is for anyone and everyone. What is your view on biometrics and data privacy, and how do you think beauty can change this idea of Big Brother watching us, and who do you think would be an early adopter of this?
So random enough, I speak a lot about privacy and data for the consumer, specifically in the retail industry. So I don't necessarily know how beauty will change this. I think this is a delicate balance between beauty and science, and then the technology aspect of facial recognition and everything that we're becoming more and more used to. Using something as simple as Snapchat is actually giving millions and millions and millions of pieces of data about your face every time you use it. So you have this cute little filter, and you got like these bunny ears, and you look like a panda, and you're like, yay. But you're training these algorithms that all these big companies have. So for example, in our app, we get to see what people are searching for in real time. So we know what colors are trending. We know that this girl in the middle of nowhere is looking to match Kylie Jenner. Or she saw something on Netflix, she paused it, she used our app to find what someone was wearing for their lipstick. But the biometrics aspect, I think, is only going to become more and more acceptable, not as scary, and more commonplace for accessing our phones, becoming our secured version of identities. And I really don't know how beauty would change that.
So I read an interesting article the other day talking about security check-in at airports, for example, and now you can just check in using your face. But at the same time, what if those cameras were implemented in shopping malls or on sidewalks? All of a sudden, you have the government being able to track everywhere you go and receive all of this data on you without even knowing it. So one way maybe beauty brands can kind of combat that would be creating a lipstick or creating a concealer that actually reflects the light of the camera, so as a result, you're not able to pick up the full facial recognition.
Mm-hmm. Well, we've seen that in apparel. So you have this weird, I don't know if you guys have seen it, it's the weird paparazzi jacket. So if you take a flash to it, you can't see anything in the face. It's pretty cool. But yeah, with different science, you could have reflective makeup. There's been a couple, more on the nerd side, these guys put different pieces of makeup on them. It was just black marks, and it fools everything for facial recognition. I don't think you're going to be walking around doing that because it's just really awkward. But yeah, that's something to help keep yourself more private in the future. That could be interesting.
I also think that the upcoming generations, even the ones younger than Gen Z, are going to have a different idea of privacy, because they're going to grow up in a world where, we know the difference. We know the before and the after, but they don't know the before.
Good point. This one's for Chris. Since you're working on the tech side of the beauty industry, have you found that women are looking, what have you found that women are looking for in skincare and self-wellness?
So for us, in our next iteration of our app, that's going to deal with a lot more of the skincare. So right now we're seeing a lot of matching for like lipstick and mascaras and eyeshadow and everything like that. I would say with skincare, it's going to be more about personalized solutions and, like you touched on before, the routines. So there's going to be a lot more apps like checking in and saying, you know, here's where I am, here's kind of a check-in. I imagine before the machine learning algorithms are smart enough, you're going to be paired one-to-one with people. So you could have something where you sign up and you have like your own makeup artist and they're curating, you know, a solution just for you or your persona. So that if you have acne, fine lines, wrinkles, whatever it may be, you can be paired with the correct products. And I think digital is going to be huge for that. It'll take a little bit of time to make perfect, but you know, over the next year or 2 years, it's going to be awesome.
And then kind of looking at the audience here, we have a fair amount of gentlemen in it, which is good. How do you see the future of skincare for men come into play?
I think there's going to be less of the stigma of being like a pretty boy, or you know, you're a guy that actually cares. I mean, you see a lot of products that are more like manly branded,
right,
which is interesting. So it's not going to be just finding stuff for razor bumps or aftershave bombs or whatever. It's going to be a lot more preventative. For example, because I was doing this panel, I just got my first facial this week. Yeah. And I loved it. So it was very interesting, but when you're under the light, that's when you're like, oh wow, I'm like starting to get some sunspots, or you know, so I'm guilty. I don't wear sunscreen every day. You go out of the house and that's it. She's like, you're a little red. I was like, yeah, I'm a little hungover too. But I think it's gonna be much more commonplace. A lot of brands are going to come out with new category products, and a lot more of the preventative. You might have nighttime stuff that's going to be a lot more prevalent. I don't know if you want to touch on something.
No, yeah. So I agree, and I've kind of have the outsider perspective going in. You know, being in the fitness industry. You know, but even in the fitness industry, as a professional there, aesthetic is very important. But what you're seeing from the consumer side, when they see things on Instagram, when they see a fitness influencer, they're presented in a light where it's the entire aesthetic that's presented. So it's not just muscles that you're looking at, but you know, beauty is part of it, style is part of it, right? Skincare is part of it, dental, hair health. So I think the line is very blurred there. And so you know that exists, and like you said, it's more kind of socially acceptable. It's for men to take care of themselves as seen there and as presented there. And what's really interesting for me is having an e-commerce supplement store, seeing the drop in sports nutrition products that actually sell, and seeing the rise very slowly of the other categories that I kind of just named being purchased by males is kind of an indicator of this phenomenon occurring. So.
Also, like now we have genderless beauty campaigns happening that are trending, right? So brands focusing on skincare like TULA, Dior, and Moonlit, you guys are creating products to either challenge the trends or follow them. As competition gets fierce, where do you see skincare going in the next few years, and specifically beauty products that are dedicated to our nighttime routine?
So I think one thing that we've seen, which has been really exciting from TULA, is the customer awareness and interest in what goes into their bodies and how that affects, you know, their overall wellness and their external health, and you know, by extension, their skin. And so that's been, you know, a big trend. Probiotics are a big trend, which was great because we've really kind of believed in this inner-outer connection. We were founded by a gastroenterologist. So I don't see that going away. I think that consumers are much more aware and reading ingredient labels of their skincare in a way that they weren't. I also think, as it pertains to sleep and kind of all of our other processes, that I think that skincare will continue to innovate with ingredients and with products that really work with where you are in your life and, you know, the time of day or your age. So perhaps like hyaluronic acid doesn't work as well in your 40s, and you really need to be focusing on something else, or something should be working with your process as you sleep. You know, so I think that a lot of focus on that, especially with all the biometric data and all that, will kind of be a place where we'll see this more of an intersection of science and beauty come into play.
I think that as we move towards the future, we're going to see a lot of new products that are hybrid products. I mentioned before about the Korean 10 steps, some of them go up to 12 steps. We don't have as much time nowadays, so I think that people still want the effects of all the steps, but they don't have as much time. So I think that we're going to see a lot more hybrid products where they kind of merge that to adapt to one's lifestyle. One example of this would be a Korean-inspired splash mask. I don't know if any of you know what splash masks are, but basically a typical mask, you put it on, you wait like 20 minutes, sometimes 30 minutes, you watch a show, you catch up on email, and then you wash it off. But a splash mask takes about 20 seconds. You put it on in the shower, and it's meant to be this quick, multi-effect mask that you can wear, that you can use every single day. I also think that we are in an age of immediate gratification. We want a product. What does it do for me? I want to see the effects. A lot of you are nodding. You're like, yeah, I don't want to wait 30 days to see the effects of my skincare. I want it now. And in fact, Dior's #1 selling skincare product is Dream Skin, which is, if any of you are familiar with it, sorry, I work there, I have to say, it's the best skincare product you would ever put on your skin. You put it on and it literally gives your skin like an Instagram filter, we say. It's like this beautiful, glowy, dewy look that is like, that every girl wants. And that's our #1 product because you see the results right away. And on the back end, it's refining your pores, it's tightening your skin, it's reducing redness and blackheads and all these kinds of things, but then you see it right away. So I think those are the products that are really popping to the top. I think Glam Glow has done a really great job with their masks because they're really effective. You feel them working right away. Again, it's that immediate gratification. You see the results right away. And I also think as it relates from a sleep perspective, we're going to see a lot more sleep-related products, specifically sleeping masks are on fire right now. The mask business is up 30%. And so I think that a lot of companies are really diving into the sleep mask category. Dior has a sleep mask that we launched last year that was a top seller at Sephora. And there's also the famous Glow Recipe, this one, Glow Recipe Watermelon Sleeping Jelly Mask, which I have and I'm like obsessed with. And it literally sold out in seconds, and then it had a 5,000 person waiting list to get the next order. So it's this cult following for masks and sleeping because people know that when you sleep, you should be putting the best skincare on your face. And so sleep masks will really, leverage that.
Yeah, I think the big ones were covered in terms of time, efficiency, and wellness. One trend that we saw over at Moonlit is the rising generation. They're very concerned about these sleep habits, and even in high school, a lot of teens are very aware about their sleep hygiene and they want to make sure that they're waking up refreshed. So that's very different, I think, from when we were in high school. It's not just about, we'll sleep when we are dead. That's no longer the mantra. It's really just making sure that you're rested and radiant and taking care of yourself.